Good morning,
Good
all.
morning.
Hey there, Betsy. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing fine. Just wonderful. It's a great day. And
I
we got
know.
lots of people here. Lots of people here. Um, I wonder if we have a very special person here this morning.
Who might that be?
Well, that might be uh, this person right here.
Do you think they already know about the live cast?
I don't know.
They should.
Okay, let's just rewind that a bit. As of Friday, May 5th, 8:57 a.m., 1 million members. Woo-hoo! Okay, everyone do the wave.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
It's very, very exciting.
Isn't that exciting?
Yes. And I think with the guests that was going on in G2G, there was someone who guessed within an hour.
Oh, really?
I
Excellent.
can't remember who it was, but yeah.
Oh, happy May 5th. Yes.
Yeah.
After May the 4th be with you. Yes. Revenge of the 5th, right?
Right, exactly.
Woo, that is very exciting. Yes. Very exciting. Oh, Awen's joined us. So she must have been, Awen, you must have been just tickled pink when
Yes.
it happened. I mean, everyone is, but Awen puts so much work into it, as do all of our WikiTreeers. So we have Christine, GSL, D, Kathy Nava's here from California, Sandy from Appalachia. I have to, Megs, you can see, isn't with us right now. We're hoping she will join us later, but she got up early, which is 4 o'clock Canadian time in the morning, to watch the coronation. I was going to. I actually wore my Apple Watch to bed so I get a notification at 3:58, and it buzzed me, and I thought, no, I'll just watch the replay.
Yeah.
So I didn't get up to watch the coronation, but she did. And so she had to go back to bed. Apparently, she's a little tired. Who knew? So I'm mentioning Appalachia for her because she's not here to do so. Susan, Mary Sleppy, Chris Berriolo, who else? We have Donna, and Jen. Hi there, Jen. How are you doing? From Georgia. John Tyner from Ireland. I sent you a question, John, in Discord. I need how to decipher some Irish writing. I was looking through some records, and this person wrote down the list of all the kids, but they're in Irish, and some of the names are fine. And some of them I can't even read the script.
John's your man for that.
Yeah. Karen Stewart, Lisa Gervais, Mark Lemon is here, and Mohavelin, Susie, Aaron, and you answered the question. Great. Okay, I was having trouble with Discord actually, because before the show started, Betsy had posted something in showed me a link in Discord, and it was really cool. Do you want to brag about what you did there, Betsy?
Oh, what, the video?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. It was a video from my recent band concert, and we were playing Congo del Fuego Nuevo. So dance music.
Yeah. It was very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Someone's having blueberry biscuits in honor of Mags. Good. Anyways, my Discord was all messed up because I couldn't find it this morning. I thought, oh no, Betsy, did you take it down? But no, she didn't. Okay, so I wonder, should we start with I'll start with we want to give Mags a little time to jump in. Hopefully she'll jump in at some point. And do the question of the week. So we're stalling. So we're going to start with the profiles of the week. And let me just find that page. Where did I put that? Here it is. And I'm just putting it over to this side to make it bigger. And then I'm going to share my screen again. And sharing my screen again. Okay, too many browser windows open.
A difficulty I know all too well.
Yes. Where did? Okay. Apparently, I closed one too many browser windows. Okay, let's try this.
Yes, victory.
Yay! Victory! 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 Okay. So the question or the profiles of the week this week are: which pope are you most closely connected to? So I didn't know which way they were going to go. I thought, well, they're probably going to throw some Catholic popes in there, but are they going to do like Alexander Pope and anyone with Pope in the name, or maybe
Mhm.
from a place name that has Pope? But no, they stuck with just Catholic
Yes.
popes, which is interesting. And the headliner is Pope St. John Paul II. Um, so it's interesting. Now, as a practicing Catholic myself, of course, I know many of some of these names, but some of these popes I obviously we don't study all the popes, and so there was some new information I found out. But we'll start with this one. This, like, I can say that the way the profiles were chosen this week, it starts up here, and then the quality degrades fairly quickly. Not in terms of the profiles, though there are a few profiles that are a little scant. No, I mean in the quality or the values and morals and stuff. Anyways, you'll find out as we go along. But anyways, the first one is actually a pope who has been canonized and made a saint, and that is Pope St. John Paul II. Born on the 18th of May, 1920, so his birthday's coming up shortly, in Wadowice Polska in Poland. His parents were Karol Wojtyła. His birth name was Karol Wojtyła itself, actually Karol Joseph Wojtyła. His mother, Emilia Kazarowska, and he had two siblings. Now, I'm running the WikiTree browser extension in Safari here, and so they're still they're getting ready to release this. I don't think it's released yet on the store, but I have. This is one of the things that I've done. I did this last week, and Megs didn't like it. The family list on the right side. But one of the things I like about the family list on the right side is because it shows the profile's name in the list of siblings, so you can see where they fit in the family.
Oh, in birth order.
In birth order.
Yeah.
I like that because the default view is it shows the profile person and then all their brothers and sisters.
Sure.
But unless you can see the birth the year and you do some figuring, it's hard to know whether that means they're the first, the last, or somewhere in the middle, right?
And that ordering really is significant.
It is. Like if you're telling a family history story, it does make, and it also, I mean, it informs their career choice. There's lots of things that the birth order affects. So when you're looking at a profile and just reading it, sort of thing. Anyways, we diverged, and we haven't even got to the first paragraph.
By the way, that is a stunning wallpaper for that post.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that? Yeah.
I feel like it's a painting.
Yeah.
And I should probably know who painted
Angelico Nicolina 04. Let's look into that. Let's take another one.
Rabbit hole.
Uploaded by Abby Glynn. It's from by Fra Angelico in the Web Gallery of Art. So does that mean like it's just a public domain?
Sounds like it. Yeah, and it would have to be if
Okay.
it's used on WikiTree.
But it looks quite nice.
Yes, Aaron, it is.
What's Aaron saying? You got it. Anyways, he was the 263rd Pope of the Catholic Church, elected in 1978, the first ever of Slavic background, and the first Pope from Poland. So, yeah, quite a record breaker. In his early days, of course, he was known as Lolek by those close to him. When he was young, he was the second of two sons and the youngest child born to his parents. His father was a non-commissioned army officer who died in 1941 when he was away, and some think that's why he went into the seminary. Even though there were tensions between Jewish and Christian communities in Poland at the time, he got along well with everyone. And I like this. He was active in football. So that was one thing about this Pope, and I don't know if others were, but it's not always documented, but he liked to play sports, which isn't something you think of necessarily when you think of the
Yeah,
Pope.
true,
You think of
true.
him just sort of sitting around in Rome, and doing whatever, blessing whatever they have to do, or saying
Yeah.
mass. But this guy liked to play sports, so that's kind of cool. And he often subbed on the Jewish team when they were short a player, playing against his own Catholic team. So that's
It makes me think of the expression be sound in body, mind, and soul. So
yeah.
yeah.
There's something to be said about that,
Mhm.
exercising all of those aspects. Anyways, he studied philosophy, language, literature, and even though he did his compulsory military service, he refused to wield a weapon. Well, that's interesting. I wonder how he got away with that. One thing I always admired about him is his language ability. And he could speak at least 9 languages fluently.
Wow.
And actually, he was very famous for, all the popes do this, the blessing, especially at Easter and Christmas, they do the blessing from the balcony, where they bless the world, basically. It's called, there's an Italian phrase for that, which is verbi mundi or something like that. I can't remember the exact phrase for it. But they would often do that in as many languages as they could. And I think at one point he did something like 23 languages, greetings. Now, he couldn't obviously speak fluently in all of those.
Yes.
But he knew enough to give the blessing in all those languages.
Yeah.
Or something. So
very impressive. A
very
polyglot.
Yeah. So this is a wonderful profile. The people who put this together, the team, did a fantastic job. So there's lots here. During the Second World War, he helped. He worked with the cardinal. He actually went into an underground seminary, because, of course, it wouldn't be allowed during the war when Poland was taken over by the Germans. And he helped Jews escape. And then he actually at one point, he had to flee persecution and lived in the archbishop's residence till the end of the war at one point. The profile talks about how he became a bishop and then a cardinal, and then eventually he was elected Pope just 33 days after Pope John Paul I passed away. And remember, that Pope had a very short reign. It was very unexpected that he died. So he took his predecessor's name in honor of him, and then did wonderful things throughout his papacy. And so he is known as a saint, and the turnaround from his death to becoming a saint was actually quickened. Usually there's a 5-year sort of moratorium before they begin that process. They started the process only after 1 year. He was a well-beloved man. So. And then we move on to some of the other popes who don't have quite such a stellar career, or they have interesting careers, but maybe not as much to admire sometimes. So.
Yeah.
Maffeo Barberini. So just his first name, makes me worried.
Foreshadowing.
I know. I'm going in with all these preconceived notions. Anyways, he was born the 5th of April, 1568. So we're going way back in time, in Florence, Firenze. He was the middle child of Antonio Barberini and Camilla Barbadori. And the 235th Pope, known as Pope Urban VIII. Now, Urban isn't a name that you hear very often. There was an Urban, a person, an uncle of a friend I went to school with, and his name was Urban. So they called him Uncle Urban. But I've only known one person in real life who's actually used that as a first name, but it must have been more popular back then.
And yet you said he was Urban VIII, right?
Pope Urban VIII. So there had to be 7 more before that. So, he was patron of the arts. Caravaggio, Bernini, and Poussin were all people he patronized and helped further their career. He was ordained a priest in 1592, became a papal legate to Henry IV of France. Quite often, many of these popes had political connections with rulers of various countries. And some of them were actually created pope by the by the secular ruler, like the emperor
Yeah.
or the king, sort of appointed them, as opposed to where it's more traditionally done by the College of Cardinals. So, anyways, became a cardinal in 1606, and then in 1623 he became the Pope for 21 years. It looks like almost 21, August to July. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. Now, all of these popes have a link on Wikipedia, which gives even more details. So for some of them, I had to go to that Wikipedia page, but this one gave a little bit.
What is that little diagram with pink squares underneath the first photo? If you scroll down, just
That's his family tree.
Oh, I see.
So there's Matthew over here.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like there's a connection to someone, as if he had a wife and kids. Did we talk about that? Did we? It's not listed here, but that's not unknown.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's this portrait by Caravaggio, one of his patrons. The next one, just looking at his last name, you know that this isn't going to be good. Rodrigo Lansol Borgia, or Borgia.
Mm-hmm.
Became known as Pope Alexander VI, managed by the Spanish Project. He was the 214th Pope. So we're going even further back, 1492. So he became Pope the year that Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Right?
1492. That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's my closest. I'm gonna check that.
I forgot to check.
Yours is Leo the 10th.
Oh, okay.
24 degrees.
Okay. Well, I'm not the grandson of any of them, so there's no direct connection.
Alexander the Sixth. Yeah, that's my closest.
That's your closest?
After member of the week, Fiona McMichael.
Nice. Okay, so he was born near Valencia in Spain to Jofre Lansol and Isabella Borgia. He was given a good education, studied law. His uncle, who was a cardinal, was elected the Pope Calixtus III in 1455, and a steady climb up the church began a steady climb for Rodrigo. He was adopted into the family of Calixtus, and so he used his mother's last name, which was the uncle's last name, Borgia, from there on. And you can see how he became priest and bishop, and then cardinal bishop. Apparently, he was handsome, charming, intelligent, incompetent, and acquired experience and influence and wealth. And then there's examples of nepotism, which happened back then. He was apparently, so unfortunately, he had many mistresses. He had 4 children by one woman who he legitimized. So I guess that means he got married. And has 4 legitimate children, legitimate legally, I'm talking. And then he also had many children who were not, or presumed he had other children that weren't legitimized, but uncertain parentage, I guess. And one of his sons succeeded him as the 2nd Archbishop of Valencia. So who knew that being a cardinal, pope, or in the church was a family thing that you could pass on from?
Yeah.
Anyways, again, this is a nice fulsome profile that goes through all the ins and outs of the politics and the goings on, of which there were many. Then we have Barnaba Niccolo Maria Luigi Chiaramonti.
What a name!
I know. Son of Scipione Maria Niccolò Chiaramonti and Giovanna Coronata Ghini. And he was Pope Pius VII, the 251st Pope in the 1800s. So this is a little more modern. Pius VII, and for him, I had to go to the Wikipedia article for a little more details. Head of the Catholic Church, ruler of the Papal States. Let's make that a little bit larger for you. There's a nice paint portrait of him by Thomas Lawrence. He was a monk of the Order of St. Benedict, so a Benedictine monk, and also a well-known theologian and bishop. So the Benedictine monks had to take various vows, poverty and chastity, of course, and obedience, just like most monks. And so I suspect that may have influenced him. He was made a cardinal during the French Revolution. So that would have been a dangerous thing. He was actually imprisoned by Napoleon. So that's kind of an interesting fact, maybe not cool for him at the time. But then he signed the Concordat of 1801, guaranteeing religious freedom for Catholics living in France, and was present at the coronation as Emperor of the French. He was also responsible for significant growth of the Catholic Church in the United States, because he had helped establish or gave the permission to establish several new dioceses in America. They've begun his canonization process, and there's lots of different steps. So the step he's at, he's got the title Servant of God, which means you're a really good person, I guess. But there are different, depending on what step you get, how far you get, right? You have various titles. So obviously the highest title is when you're declared an actual saint. And so you use the word saint. Or people use the word saint when they talk about you. You can't use it because you're already deceased. But then there are, there's blessed is sort of the next one before, and there's beatified or beatic. But anyway, servant of God, I think, is the first rung of the ladder. And be nice to just even get that.
Yeah, that would be a nice honor.
John de Roma, who was Pope John the 11th, way back in time. I think this is the earliest pope we have in the profiles. He was born about the year 910. So we have to add a leading zero to make it a four-digit year.
I see.
Isn't that wild?
That is
weird to see, isn't it? But
he didn't live very long.
No. He died at 26, and he was only pope for 5 years, and most of that, unfortunately, he was imprisoned for. So his mother. Now this is interesting. His mother was a Roman senator. So at least in the 900s, Rome had pretty much equal opportunity. You could have male senators and female senators, and she pretty much ruled the city. Now it's said that his father, the Pope's father, was her lover, who was the Pope at the time, and not actually her husband, Alberic I. And it was because of her mother's influence that he became consecrated Pope at only the age of 21. That's pretty young, really. But his mother was the de facto leader of Rome at the time, and the Pope, he did her bidding until she was overthrown by her own son, Alberic II, her husband's son. Well, I guess her son too, but and then
who would be, if it's correct, would be the half brother.
Would be the half brother of the Pope. Yes,
gentleman.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is an interesting this quote from the source from Bartolomeo Platina, The Lives of the Popes, said that he came to be Pope when a fountain at Genoa streamed blood in great quantities, a sure presage or prediction of the ensuing calamities. For soon after Genoa was taken and sacked by the Saracens, who came from Africa, and Hungarians entered Italy, utterly destroying all things far and near. He died after he had been Pope for 4 years, 10 months, 15 days. Wow. So his half-brother confined him to the Lateran, which was a church in Rome, and he eventually died there at age 25 years. So got the title early, but didn't get to really enjoy it much. Anyways, now we have it looks like a German Pope, Gebhard Dolstein-Herxberg, son of Hartwig von Kahl, mother unknown.
Also very early.
Very early, born 1000, just over the millennium, 1018. born in Swabia in the Kingdom of Germany, part of the Holy Roman Empire still back then. His father was a count, Count Hartwig. And he was appointed bishop at 24, so that's pretty young for a bishop, I think. Accepted the papacy under the condition that the emperor restored all the possessions he had taken from the apostolic see. So the emperor, I guess, had stolen a bunch of stuff from the Vatican. He said, "I'll become pope, but you have to return all the stuff you took away."
Oh, Greg, we have something from Lisa about the steps.
Venerable. To bless it. Okay, I knew there was something I was missing, and it wasn't Beata. Didn't quite fit. Venerable. Thanks, Lisa. Yes. Anyways, and he died in 1057 and was buried in the Church of Santa Maria Rotonda at Ravenna. Then we have moving on to Bonham Eggesheim. And he was the son of Hugo Nordgau Eggesheim and Helvig Dagsburg Eggesheim. And he was known as Pope Saint Leo IX. So another saint, or another pope who was canonized. And again, he was early on, born in the year 1002, died 1054. So it says his first name here is Baunan, but I guess it's anglicized as Bruno here. Born in Alsace, in the Duchy of Swabia in the Holy Roman Empire. The last guy was from Swabia as well, I believe, right? Yeah, Swabia. Yes. Okay. And his parents died while he was a bishop, and then he was the bishop for 20 years, and then elected Pope in 1049, taking on the name of Leo IX, heading the medieval Latin Church after the death of Gregory VI. So this is one where the emperor asked him to be pope. He said he'd be a good pope, so he nominated him. So he started walking towards Rome in his pontifical habit. So he dressed like the pope and was walking to Rome, sort of making a pilgrimage there. But he was met by a monk on the way and said that he had no right to be dressed himself as pope because the emperor can't confer that on you. It's only the people of Rome and the clergy that can do that have that right. So he was humbled and took off his habit and then entered as a private man, wearing civilian clothes, I guess, presumably. And then, but they obviously made him pope after all. So good choice on his part there.
Interesting story.
Yeah. But again, he only lasted 5 years. The popes did not last long back then. No, which is so different from today.
What was his, how old was he when he died?
He was 51, but he became pope later in life.
Yes.
So that's, 51 is probably not a bad age back then. Okay, sorry, I need a TARDIS jump. Okay. Giovanni di Lorenzo Medici. You know, you couldn't talk about popes without at least one Medici popping up.
Yes, people have been waiting
for it. Yes. So the Magnificent, Lorenzo the Magnificent de Medici. He was the last. So this is interesting. He was the last pope not to have been in priestly orders at the time of his election. So he was made pope, and he hadn't even been a priest.
Wow. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that possible.
Well, it is actually. I mean, there is some there in the election process, you know, people they nominate names, but there isn't actually the criteria that they have to be, or at least there didn't used to be. And I think even as most recent one, it's not written in canon law that they have to be a priest. But tradition strongly recommends it. And considering you're the head of a whole church,
right,
it seems silly not to have been. But on the other hand, I guess the counter argument is that you're also head of a big organization, and having some administrative skills and whatnot, and some people skills might be also useful.
Yeah.
So, possibly, but anyways, We digress. But this is a rather short one, but a much larger article. So he was known as Pope Leo X, and he
Yep.
was not canonized.
Oh, he's your closest, Greg.
And he's my closest. Oh,
Yeah.
good. So I shouldn't speak ill of him. Is that what you're thinking? I don't know if I can keep that promise.
I'll look at your pathway.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, and he was born into a prominent political and banking family, the Medici family of Florence, Firenze, second son, and they ruled the Florentine Republic at the time. He became a cardinal in 1489, so he would have been, well, actually, yeah, he would have been what, 14? Am I reading that right? 75 to 89, 14 years old.
Yes, correct.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And then he was elected Pope following the death of Pope Julius II in 1513. So he'd be a little bit old. He was a decent age then, at least, sort of.
So, Greg, this is fascinating.
What's that?
There's only one break from green to yellow. So it goes
Really?
It goes from Pope Leo to his
Yes.
brother and his brother's son. And
Okay.
that nephew of Leo married Madeleine Tour d'Auvergne.
No way.
Yes, and then thereafter, it's a straight shot to you.
Oh my goodness.
So check that out. That's
Okay,
cool.
so we're not related. Oh, right. It's connection, right? Connection
It's a
to me.
connection through marriage between his
Oh
nephew
my Lord. Look at that.
and somebody in your family. Yeah.
Where is the alternate view? Alternate view. Where did it pop up? There it is. That. Wow.
Yeah. Yes, and Chris says
Yes. Wow. Okay, Uncle Leo. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, I'm a little floored here. Okay. Where was I? That is wild. Okay. Anyways, this is interesting. His father. So early on in life, before he became a cardinal at age 14, or 13, it looks like. I guess it was before his birthday. His father gave him advice. He was worried about his character, probably for good reason. And he gave this advice. There's one rule which I recommend to your attention in preference to all others. They talked very formal back then, I guess. Rise early in the morning. This will not only contribute to your health, but will enable you to arrange and expedite the business of the day, as there are various duties incident to. So, I mean, get up and start your day early,
Yeah.
before you have time to make, to lay around in bed and make a whole bunch of messy decisions, I guess. I don't know. He received his tonsure at age of 7. So I think, isn't that the hair? Isn't the tonsure the haircut where they,
Oh.
let's just check that out. The practice of cutting or shaving some of all the hair of the scalp as a sign of devotion or humility. You see,
I see. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some people get that naturally, in the 30s and 40s. I'm lucky that I'm not one of those. So Uncle Leo didn't pass that on to me. So yeah, from early on, he was destined for clerical greatness. Became a card. This is crazy. Became a cardinal at age 13, but he wasn't allowed to wear the cardinal's outfit or go to the cardinal's college and vote or anything until he was 16 years old. It's like, here's a car, but you can't drive it until you got your driver's license at 16. I mean, this is crazy. But I mean, he didn't become a priest, but at least is this the one who didn't become a priest?
Well, there was someone earlier.
But that was someone earlier.
Yeah. And now would this be a second person?
Or wait a second. Who was the one who didn't become a priest?
It was like 2 or 3 ago. I can't remember.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, um, anyways, that's crazy. No, this is the one who didn't become a priest. Yeah, he was the last non-priest to be elected pope.
Oh, okay.
It is this one. Yeah, Uncle Leo. What you doing? So anyways, there's a lot more. There's a lot of intrigue in here and back and forth, obviously with other popes, and then he declared war. Part of the he was involved in the Crusades, the Protestant Reformation. Anyways, a lot of intrigue, and we've already digressed enough, so maybe I should just move on.
We don't have Mags here to keep us in check.
We do not have Mags here. Yeah. So look at Lisa learned something new about the head actually being shaved.
Cool.
Yeah. You might have thought that it just went bald because living in the shadow all the time of having the Cardinals cap on it all the time. It's like the sun. The grass doesn't grow in the shade like that. But in 1611, Benedetto Odescalchi, also known as the Savior of Hungary, was born in Como, which is in Lombardia, which is part of the Duchy of Milan, or was part of the Duchy of Milan at the time. And he became Blessed Pope Innocent XI. So just as Lisa had mentioned, Blessed is one of the titles that you get on the route to sainthood. So Innocent has stopped at Blessed, but that's fine. That means he's pretty cool. And the WikiTree profile, again, is fairly short, but it does have, it is being updated by the Pope's Project. So presumably later on, this will be more fulsome. And you can jump over to the Wikipedia article, which is there, which I've done. And you can see more details about Blessed Innocent XI of Rome. Lots of tensions with Louis XIV of France, Louis XIV. So he lowered taxes because he was frugal, which is not something I bet we could say about my Uncle Leo back there. But anyways, once he was elected to the papacy, he applied himself to the moral and administrative reform of the Roman Curia. He abolished sinecures, which is the carrying of a salary that requires or involves little labor. So basically, you get this title, you automatically get a salary for doing nothing just by virtue of having this title. So that seemed pretty wasteful and not well earned. So we got rid of that. Push for greater simplicity in preaching, as well as greater reverence in the worship, requesting that of not only but of the clergy and of the faithful. So sounds like he was trying to do things to push things forward in the church. So that's nice. And because of his diplomatic and financial support to free Hungary from the Turkish domination, he's still widely referred to as the Savior of Hungary. So that's nice. Moving on, we have Benedict, not the most recent Benedict, but one of his predecessors, Benedict XIII, born in 1650 and died in 1730 at the age of 80. And let's see what Wikipedia has to say about him. He was a Dominican friar, another order of monks, and he focused on the religious responsibility as bishop the Pope is known as the Bishop of Rome. So which means that he runs he's responsible for all the churches in Rome or the area around Rome and appointing priests and making sure that everything runs smoothly, along with, of course, being the Pope, the leader of the whole Catholic Church around the world. So he took the Bishop of Rome part really seriously. Unfortunately, he appointed, he let, his secretary, who was a cardinal, let him run the finances, and that didn't work out so well because the cardinal had abused the finances and ruined the papal treasury, which is unfortunate. And he's got the title of Servant of God.
Okay. And you said he's a Dominican?
A Dominican friar. Yeah, he was.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Susan was just pointing out that Dominicans are friars rather than monks.
Oh, they're not actual
Yeah.
monks. They're
Yeah.
friars.
Right.
Okay. A friar.
Thanks, Susan.
Okay. I'm not sure what the distinction between a friar and a monk
I
is.
know. I would have used the terms
Well,
interchangeably.
it says friar here,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of thought they were interchangeable. So maybe Susan can.
I bet someone in the chat knows.
Someone will tell us what's the difference between a friar and a monk. I think a friar, your title would be brother. Now, as a monk, you'd be a brother as a monk too?
I think so.
You wouldn't be called a father unless you're actually ordained a priest.
Yes, correct.
But you could be a priest in an order, like Benedictines are priests and Dominicans can be priests.
Here's friars are mendicants.
Okay, monks.
Cloistered.
So cloistered mean they live in the monastery and they don't go outside to the outside world except for special occasions. Mendicants, I'm guessing mendicants mean they do go to the outside world.
Mendicants. Beggars. Like
so you'd have to go to the outside world to beg, wouldn't you?
Right.
They live among the people. There we go.
Yeah.
So they go out to the outside world. There we go. See, we're all learning whole piles of things.
Yes.
Look at that. So good Pope. So this is the case where, a good Pope doing great things for the church, religiously, but not a great administrator. So maybe a counter argument for, that other option. But you know what? Uncle Leo wasn't a good choice. Wouldn't have been a good choice there. It's kind of sacrilege. I'm referring to him as Uncle Leo now, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're related through his brother.
Yeah, so
I mean, you would call him Uncle. Great.
Yeah, with a few greats in there. Anyways, Pope Pius II was born as Aeneas Silvio Bartolomeo Piccolomini. That's a cool name. Aeneas Silvio Bartolomeo Piccolomini. Yeah. And his father was also a Silvio Piccolomini. His mother was Vittoria Fortegari. He was born in 1405, died at the age of 58 in 1464. From Siena. My sister-in-law lives in Siena. How cool is that? So he was born in the Republic of Siena. His father was a soldier. His parents had 18 children. 18.
Yeah. Wow.
A number of twins. So not 18 pregnancies per se, but 18 children. That's a lot. Wow. So he got to travel to Scotland and England, and then returned to the Papal States where he was ordained in 1477. Later became a bishop, and he was created a cardinal in 1456 by Calixtus III. We've mentioned another Calixtus a while back, and then he was elected pope in 1458, and he was pope for looks like 6 years, almost to the day, the 19th of August to the 14th of August, just shy of his 6-year anniversary. And that is it.
Wow.
I never finished, but I did.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg.
No problem.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna move on to tip of the week and photos of the week.
Okay.
And full. I'm going to put this disclosure up front. This tip came from Sandy Patak, who I think is still. She was in the chat earlier.
She was.
Yeah, and Sandy showed this during one of the Connect-a-thon live casts. And I thought it was just such a game changer. So it is. Let's see. So here is one of my WikiTree profiles. I'm going to go here. Let me make it a little bigger. Okay. So one of my tutor line, and born in Cardiff, but very shortly after, and notice he was born on Christmas. Very shortly after his birth, his family emigrated to the United States and they established themselves in Vermont. So I call this line my Vermont tutors. So as you can see, I don't have many sources for him, just his death record, which actually has confirms a lot of important details, and the 1870 census. Now, if I go over to, let's see, there's where I want to be. Okay. Oh, and Family Search has, okay, hang on, everyone. Kicked me out. Okay. If I go over to Family Search, you see that he has 18 sources, including a number of censuses I don't have. Looks like there's some town records, records for his children in which he's mentioned. So you'll see up at the top here on the right, it says get all citations. Now, in order to, you won't see this unless you have WikiTree B. And it has been said that if you're using the WikiTree browser extension, you should disable your other extensions related to WikiTree because it might cause interference. But I found, and I tested this more than once, that you really do have to have WikiTree be on to see this. So next thing you would do, because you're a responsible WikiTreeer who's being careful about sources, is you check all 18 of these, make sure that they're all valid, they're all related to Ernest. Then you click on this. You'll see a little tree. It's waving in the wind in the middle. And sometimes it takes a few seconds. And then you get this. So this is all 18 sources properly formatted with the asterisks so that when you go to copy, goes into your clipboard, you go back to your WikiTree profile, you edit, you insert. I did not have a chance to go through all 18 of those sources. So I just want to double check them. I'm not going to put them in there right now. But that is the tip of the week. And thank you, Sandy, for sharing that. This, for me, I found this to be a game changer. Oh, I'm all about Greg.
No, I'm here. I'm just reading up on the question of the week, and I didn't want you to see that I was ignoring you. But I wasn't ignoring. I heard you. That was very interesting.
Okay, I can take 2 more minutes and show. I would like to.
You gonna show the photos?
I can show photos, but I'll also take 2 minutes and show what I couldn't show last week.
That's an excellent, yes, because it wasn't working, right?
Because it wasn't working, and I discovered later on, what I wanted to show everybody is how you get the WikiTree ID over onto Family Search.
Right.
And what it turned out, the problem was that my login to Family Search was stale. It had been from the night before, and it didn't tell me that I needed to re-log in. It just wouldn't work. So let me go back. Let me go over to, well, first of all right, here I am on Ernest's profile, and I'll just review the first step. So down here under research, I'm going to add his family search, add new connection. So his Family Search ID is LK4W W4J, and I'm certain connect. So now when I go back to his tutor 135, oh no,
Judy says refresh your browser tab.
Yeah, I could have done. I always am afraid when I refresh my browser tab. Maybe I can just go back through time.
Back in time.
Yeah. Okay. Here I am.
Here we are.
So there now it's connected.
Excellent.
And so if I want to now go to remember we looked at yeah, great. Go ahead.
When you do that, so that
Yeah.
makes the connection from WikiTree to Family Search. Is
Right.
there a reciprocal connection
Yes.
back?
And that's what I'm going to show now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now I am in the Andrew York's WikiTree Family Search Connection app, and you just find that under the apps menu, and this is once you log into Family Search, you will get a page like this. Here is Ernest. Then I can see it matches. Now I'm going to create match.
Okay.
There we go. And now I'm going to link in Family Search. This is what I couldn't show you.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So you get this, and it's actually at first I thought, oh, I had to do something more here for this citation. And it's pre-formatted. And back to what Mag said about, well, WikiTree really isn't a source. And that is 100% correct. But with the way, I guess, with the way Family Search is configured, this is the place where the WikiTree profile would go, is in these sources.
Right.
So, and I'm going to say that it confirms his name, his sex.
Is there another pop-up that you're seeing?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
That is what you'll see.
Oh, so when you clicked on that, this popped up, but we couldn't see it until just now.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Sorry about that, everyone.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So this where this record is found, aka citation, it's already done for you.
Yeah.
So all you have to do, you say what's being confirmed. We're going to save. Now, when I go back to Ernest, and
if you had,
yeah,
if on that WikiTree profile you had like a find a grave citation and a baptism, you could have checked those other two boxes that you hadn't, right?
Yes, correct. Now, when I go, notice he's now 19 sources instead of 18 sources. So when I go to the very bottom, sorry, that must have made people dizzy.
Oh, I'm okay. I'm holding on.
Okay. It should have the WikiTree. You know what? I'm going to refresh.
Okay.
And get those all to close. Okay. So at the bottom, ta-da!
There it is. On WikiTree.
On WikiTree, you open it up, and it'll hyperlink you right to WikiTree.
Right there.
And we want to get people over to WikiTree. So I think this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like on a WikiTree profile, you would probably put you'd usually put the link to Family Search in the like see also category, right?
But I don't have to do that because
no. But I'm saying that, but on Family Search, they don't have like a see also.
No,
category.
exactly.
So Meg says it's not really a source. It's
right.
That's the logic, the closest to like a see also link,
Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully, an experienced genealogist researcher would understand that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's
very cool.
Last week's tip of the week, part 2.
Part 2.
Exactly. Who wants to see some cute photos of children?
I do.
Okay, let me get there.
43 people watching online as we speak also.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so 12 months of photos. And we've got 3 images here. Let me. So this is from the Free Space
Oh,
page.
11 children.
Wow. Is it big enough
Wow.
for everybody?
Mhm.
Okay. And look at these boys. They
Oh,
look
look at them
there
beaming.
might be twins. These
Oh,
two? I don't
one
know.
looks a bit older, like maybe a year
Maybe,
older, but
maybe.
their faces are so similar they
I
could be.
know. Well, these three, I mean, they're clearly brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all very close.
Wow.
Wow. Very cool. And they may still be alive, right? There's a bunch of them
Yeah, yeah.
unlisted, so they
Oh, and
might.
look, it says, okay, this is the mom with all of her 11 children, and her daughter is holding her first grandchild.
Wow.
So there's 12. Yeah. What? That's great.
So that grandchild
Yeah.
is closer in age to probably the youngest of the 11
Right. Yep.
than, yeah.
I would guess that the littlest girl sitting to Della May's
Mhm,
right is the
mhm.
youngest. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, now here we have Elizabeth
Oh, that's
Steinman
so cute.
Bartlett. Oh, the dress.
Yes.
I wonder when the 1852,
Oh,
St. John, New Brunswick.
look at that.
Ah,
A little bit off the shoulder.
yeah, I know. This is very sophisticated for a
Yes.
toddler.
Very fancy. Nice.
Mm, precious. And here we have, huh,
Where are the
I wonder
kids?
where they're in Arizona, January 26th, 1926.
Okay. Okay, so it looks, I'm looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I see the two guys talking beside the car. Is it a car?
Yep. Yep.
I'm not sure what that
I
is.
don't know if I don't think that's a car. Because
Okay.
look, it looks like shelves, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, so wherever your cursor was, it looks like that looks like an old man with a hat on, but they look a lot
Over
tinier. So are those the
over here.
kids?
Well, here are the kids.
Oh, so those
One,
are kids.
yeah, one and two. And then I think there's an adult seated who might be holding a
Another one.
third child.
Wow.
I really hope that Kathleen
Is Kathleen in the
Thompson,
chat?
well, I'm hoping that she also posted it to the G2G,
And
and maybe we can get the
sure.
story there.
Let's check that out.
Let's go over to the G2G. So, ta-da. Okay. Are you still with me? There.
I'm still
Okay,
here.
great. So we've got 5 answers. Oh, redheads.
Look. Aw,
This
Gingers
is from
Unite.
M. Ross, summer of
Nice.
61, probably somewhere on the south coast of England. I am the redheaded girl on the right.
Aw.
My brother, 15 months older than me, is the redheaded boy on the left. Today is his 70th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, brother.
My sister, 19 months younger than me, is the child at the back, looking a little bashful there. My next sister, the little one at the front, is 4.5 years younger than me. Got to love the shoes on all of us and the big scab on my knee. I remember how I got it. There are 3 more children, all younger than me, who weren't born yet. The shoes.
Look at those
Oh.
shoes. Wow.
And this little dress.
Wow. Very cute.
Yes. Adorable.
Yeah.
Okay. So here is Elizabeth
Yeah.
Stymis Bartlett from 1852. She looks about 3, a tiny frame decorated in gold under the glass. I was surprised by her outfit. She looks like she attended a ball.
Yes.
Maybe she did with her parents.
Who knew?
She lived in St. John, New Brunswick, which was a wealthy port city at the time. Pat Miller.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pat. Wow.
Yeah. Neat.
And here is, okay, this was in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Oh,
And it's Alexis's great aunt.
oh, neat. Alexis.
Yes,
Great.
thanks. Della Mae and Guy loved children, and they were blessed with 11 healthy children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it say anywhere whether there were twins or triplets?
No, it
No,
does.
but now Alexis isn't always in the chat with us, is she?
But she's often on the live cast.
Yeah, let's see.
I don't know. We might have to post a question
Mm-hmm.
to the G2D post because I'm curious.
I'm curious too.
Yeah. Okay. This is from John Vasky.
Okay. Oh, I love when they label it.
Yes, me too. This is my third great-grandfather, Jacob Howe, and 4 generations of his family. Wow. He was a Civil War veteran, outlived a couple of wives, and had a herd of kids.
Herd.
Yes. And what constitutes a herd exactly, John? This is one of my favorite picks for my Howe line. I wish I could have met him.
Yeah.
Little Grace Miller.
Grace. Wow.
And that must be Grace's mother.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, and Grace's grandmother. Or maybe if it says
so Jacob would be the top of the line, and then William would be next.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking William, and who's up the top there? Is it
that is Amanda Susanna Howe Hyde. So
yeah, my guess is that William and Amanda might be.
Yes, father and daughter.
Oh yeah, because it's Howe dash Hyde, right? So
yeah,
married name Howe.
And then it's Grace Miller and Hyde Miller. So Grace would be the daughter of Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's our
yes,
Arizona one.
Yes.
Juan Jordan's camp, his wife and family at Gila Bend, Arizona. I borrowed some children for my father's trip on his Harley across the southern United States. John Thompson. Well, maybe this is a vehicle of some kind.
I don't know. I mean, it looked like an old-fashioned car to me.
Yeah. Sort of a cross between a car and a handsome carriage.
Yeah, yeah. Well, did Harleys, before they made famous for motorcycles, did they do other vehicles? They did do other vehicles, didn't they? You're
asking the wrong person, Greg.
Well, according to an episode of the Murdoch Mysteries, they did do other vehicles, but I don't know if you ever watched that show. It's a Canadian BBC co-production.
No.
There was an episode with them.
Okay, and that is it. But it's only the first Saturday of the month.
So there's lots of time.
So look for your favorite photos of children.
Well, I should share at some point. I was going to share last month's theme was couples, right?
Yes, correct.
And this month's theme is children. And what last month I was going to share a chart I put together for a family reunion back in 2000, where I had done a family tree, but included in the family tree pictures of the wedding couple, and then a picture of the family, like the young family, right underneath, so you could sort of see the family as it progressed through time. So that would sort of that would satisfy both criteria. So maybe I should post something like that.
Absolutely.
But anyways, we've given Megs lots of time, but I guess she has a royal nap after
dreaming of crowns and scepters.
That's right. That's right. She's having a royal nap. So I will quickly go through the questions of the week, and then maybe Betsy, while I'm doing that, you can line up the social media week wrap up and stuff. So question of the week: do you have any politicians in the family? So Betsy, do you have any politicians in your family?
Well, interesting you should ask that, Greg.
Yes.
Because during Connect-a-thon, I worked on one of my ancestors whose brother-in-law was governor of Indiana
Wow.
from 1857 to 1860. I'm very sure of the connection because the names in the family were extremely unusual, but I
Mhm.
need to get a will to really, really prove it. So,
Cool.
so
Mm,
yes, conditionally.
you do. Okay. Well, I actually have a very close politician in the family. My brother is the mayor of our township.
Oh,
So, in Ontario, there are counties, and the counties are broken down into townships, just like you in the States. And the leader of the township in Ontario now, they're called a mayor, just like the mayor of a town.
mm-hmm.
So, my brother Basil is the mayor of Bromera Township, where I live.
That is
Um,
neat.
so I don't know if that makes me the Duke, if he's the mayor, your Lord Mayor. I don't know.
Yeah, do you have a special title or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we make it up as we go along, sort of thing. But anyways, but there are 24 answers, so great ones. So we should always, as Meg say, you should always upvote them as you read through them. So Kay Smith says my favorite is Duff Green, first cousin, 5 times removed. Although he never held office, he was an educator, a military leader, a journalist, author, diplomat, industrialist, attorney, businessman, and serves as kitchen cabinet member for Andrew Jackson's administration. In a dispute between Jackson and his vice president, John C. Calhoun, Green supported Calhoun and attacked the Jackson administration through his newspaper, the United States Telegraph. Green's daughter went on to become Calhoun's daughter-in-law, and Green's wife was Lincoln's son-in-law's aunt. Wow. I would be curious who knew and met more presidents, Duff Green or Billy Graham. And then she added a comment after that, close but no cigar. I'm not sure what the close but no cigar was. I frequently engage in conversation with a retired senator who practiced law in his retirement. We occasionally drew looks from the judge because we shared the same sense of humor and would laugh a little too loud during court proceedings. Yeah, that's probably not good, laughing in the middle of court. What she didn't know was at the time that he was her first cousin once removed brother-in-law. But then again, I didn't know that about her until I learned about WikiTree. So that's cool. She was kibitzing with a cousin all this time and didn't even know it. Sharon Warren says, my great-grandfather, Campbell 33018, was involved in local politics in Brooklyn, New York. In 1909, he was the Democratic candidate for alderman in the 51st district and was elected and served 1 term. Susan Ellen Smith has several governors in her family tree. Governor of Virginia, William Cabell, Governor Caleb Carr from Rhode Island, William Oates from Alabama, Charles Scott from Kentucky, and governors west of Virginia, 3 brothers, John Delaware, Francis and Nathaniel, all great-granduncles. Wow. So she's got the whole eastern seaboard covered there, doesn't she?
Yes.
Way to go.
Well connected.
Well connected. I need to be upvoting these as I go along. And Bob Land says that my great-grandfather ran for the Kansas state legislature, but another candidate was chosen instead. He then questioned the results of the election. That's Silas Marion Land. And Matthew Sullivan says, my brother is a former city councilor. He also once ran a somewhat chaotic campaign for MP in a federal election. I have a first cousin whose husband was a mayor in the 70s, and that's Jeffrey Tobin. Brian Lamoth says, my 4th great-granduncle, Nedham Angier, was mayor of Atlanta in Georgia from 1877 to 79. And his great-grand-aunt, Dolly Tuttle Davis Hall, was the wife of Hilland Hall, who's the 25th governor of Vermont. And then Susan mentions that Dottie is her 5th cousin 6 times removed. So that's kind of cool when WikiTreeers find connections to each other through famous people. Marina Blasco has several relatives who went into politics, but I'm not proud of that. And Kay, actually, I liked Kay's comment. I like my outlaw connections every bit as well as my political ones, truth be known, maybe even better. Jillian Adams says, I don't have any in my direct line, but this Ayrshire lad is my first cousin 4 times removed, was involved in politics from an early age through trade unions and after emigrating to Australia as a politician in Sydney. And that's Sam Smith. My great-granduncle was John Walker McCullough, who was elected Maryland State Senator of Garrett County in 1921. I've often thought that he looked like a politician in this photo. And that was Alexis.
That's a great photo.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that kind of looks like a politician. You know, why wouldn't they smile, though? Just a little bit, just a hint of a smile.
Well, you know, it was part of the how they did things in the day.
I guess,
you know?
that's right. Same people who made up the law in the when you take your driver's license photo, right?
Well, I read somewhere you're not, like for your passport photo, you're not supposed to smile.
No, in Canada at least, it's a rule. You can't smile for your passport photo. I guess it's more likely that when you come through an airport that you're not happy anyways. So it's more likely it's going to look like this photo. Roger Strong says, they're probably more than I want to admit. The closest was my great-granduncle, Daniel Hayden Linebaugh, a lawyer in Muskogee, Oklahoma. He was an active Democrat and a political ally of William Alfalfa Bill Murray. I love when they have nicknames. He attended numerous Oklahoma State Democratic conventions, chairing the state convention in 1912, and attended the Democratic National Convention in 1908 and in 1920, where he nominated Senator Robert Owen for selection as the presidential nominee. He was mentioned as a possible Oklahoma gubernatorial candidate in 1921 and ran unsuccessfully for Congress twice. He did manage to serve as U.S. District Attorney for the Eastern District of Oklahoma from 13 to 17. And then also U.S. Attorney General and Special Justice of the Oklahoma Supreme Court. Nice. And then John Thompson says, it appears that my mother's sixth great-grandfather, John Redding, 104, was the first native-born governor of the British province of New Jersey. Luther Browns, I don't know if this is considered politician or not, but he was elected. My great-uncle Thomas Ford was sheriff in Sequoyah County, Oklahoma. Janet says, my great-grandfather, Redmond, 1721, was mayor of Anaconda, Montana? MT, is that Montana?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. For one term, I think. I'm reportedly related to several presidents, mostly by marriage. I'm related to U.S.
It's Montana. Yes.
Okay, good. The only other possibility I can think of is Massachusetts has an M and a T in it, but
yeah, no, Massachusetts MA, yeah.
MA, yeah. And what's Maine then? ME?
ME, yes.
Okay. My most well-known politician in my tree is President Teddy Roosevelt. Very impressive, Donna Gerber. He's a very distant cousin. And then she has closer relatives, John M. Brown, who's involved in local politics, and another politician, John Fertig, who was a justice of the peace. Anon Sharkey says that my father-in-law, Mark Sharkey, served as a parish councilor, a borough councilor, and a county councilor in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Frank B. Clark was the Missouri representative for the Democratic Party in Ray County, elected in 1950-52. That's David Rez. I'm not uploading here. Get behind that. My great-grandfather, William Wildman Campbell, was elected to 59th Congress as a Republican in 1905 to 1907. That's Heather Grace Ratcliffe. Sean DeFeather says, my second great-grandfather, Jacob Roth, was the mayor of South Zanesville, Muskingum, Ohio. And Teddy Roosevelt was a third great-grandson of my eighth great-grandfather. So there's another connection to Teddy. Ray Sarlin says, I'm ashamed to say my family does have its share of politicians. For example, my paternal grandfather was a member of Finland's first parliament and also served in an MP later. My dad would never speak of his father and adopted a different surname by deed when a teenager, which confused my sister and me when we began family research. I guess so. Wow. Some years later, I took a Y DNA test to find out why my autosomal DNA showed 0.9% Asian among my otherwise pure Northern European, only to have an uncle, also young, although younger than me, pop up in Finland. It seems that my then 73-year-old grandfather was still impregnating servant girls like my grandmother had been 36 years previously. Oh my. And then we have a few more on the second page. Ryan Romaine said, I do, but only recently we learned about it through research. My great-great-grandfather, Templeton IV 4004, described as a well-known politician from the obit from the local newspaper in Paterson, New Jersey. Cheryl Hess says, I was a politician, Cheryl says, not me, her. For 14 years, an alderman for our little city, also the police commissioner, and in charge of the finance committee. Way to go, Cheryl. I was responsible for preparing the budget and hiring and firing. Wow. The chief of police was in daily contact with me for additional instructions. I'm very glad to be retired from these strenuous positions. I bet. Yes. And then Stephen Sanders says that my fourth great-grandfather, Lieutenant John Peacock, was a trustee of the village of Waddington in St. Lawrence County, New York. I also served 3 one-year terms as president mayor of the village, most likely a member of the Whig Party, killed in action during the Battle of Ulster. And the last one, Richard Livesey, says, my maternal grandfather, John Joseph Duval, the Jr., was elected at age 53 and served as District Justice of Upper Providence Township, Delaware County, Pennsylvania. So way to go.
Wow. Some very interesting tidbits there.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Good. That was a good question of the week.
That was a good one, Quinn. Yeah. Thanks for everyone for sharing. Yes.
Well, what I have, and what's happening around WikiTree? Okay. So, I need to add to stream.
So I'm showing off my T-shirt because it relates to the challenge of the week. This is my Michael Y DNA T-shirt.
Yes. Are you involved in that?
I am. Yes, I'm one of the team members on mitoydna.org, which is a website where you can share your Y DNA and mitochondrial DNA information. You can upload your data there, and then you can compare. So similar to the way GEDmatch works for comparing autosomal DNA results. It's a site for free. It's a nonprofit where you can upload your Y DNA and your mitochondrial DNA, and you can actually do DNA comparisons with others.
Yeah, I did that with my mitochondrial DNA. It's very cool.
Yeah. So the WikiTree challenge this week is they picked 7 people who are on the MitoY DNA site. And unlike other ones where you're trying to build out your CC7 score, this one you're trying to build down the lines. So down the paternal lines or the maternal lines. So you can make the connections between as many Y DNA descendants or mitochondrial DNA descendants as possible. So it's going very well.
Excellent. Yeah. And that started on Thursday, correct?
Yes, it did. Yes.
It was Thursday to Thursday. Okay. Great. Well, looking at what's going on, I am now on the what's happening around WikiTree in May post. So as Greg said, we've got the MitoY DNA challenge going on right now. We also have 2 pop-up challenges happening simultaneously.
Wow.
So there is the Star Wars pop-up challenge featuring Christopher Sean, and that's going it started yesterday, midday, and it's going until Monday, midday.
So it's the whole weekend.
It's the whole weekend. He has Irish, German, and Japanese heritage.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, jump into that. You can get to the G2G post from here, and also a Kentucky Derby pop-up challenge that Sandy's running. Yeah.
Sandy Paddock?
Yes.
Our own Sandy Paddock.
Yeah. Now, actually, that might have just been yesterday.
Oh.
It doesn't have a date range, so it might be done.
Is it done?
Oh.
Is Sandy still here?
I don't know. She was at the time that I did my tip.
Yeah.
So, I hope. Well, I hope if it's done that it was a huge success. It sounded like a lot of fun.
Let's see.
Yeah. And here we are. We're rounding up. And, and tomorrow we have a new member Q&A with me and Hillary Gadsby on Zoom. And still looking for 1 or 2 volunteers who would like to look at their profiles with me and Hillary. So, reply to the G2G post or send me a message. We'd love to have you. the Germany project meeting, and then, yeah, there's a WikiTree tours video this coming Monday. And then, the longer term things. I'll just mention the We Will Rock You event. We're getting set to start that up in June. Nominations are being accepted for the people who will get rocked until Monday the 15th. So get those nominations in, and then we will randomly select 5 people to volunteer to do the research. You have until May 31st. Two different G2G posts. And you also have until May 31st to send us a recipe, a family recipe for the WikiTree cookbook. And you don't have to do anything more than send us the recipe and a WikiTree profile ID that it's most closely connected to, and then we'll take it from there in terms of putting it all together and putting some interesting social history around it. So please send those in. Social media. Yep, we did Pope connections today, and check out these wonderful shorts. We have something about connections to Elizabeth Taylor. We had Friday date night yesterday. Next Friday will be bingo with Sandy. Meet our members. Catherine McMichael is our member of the week.
Nice.
So there's plenty to do on WikiTree.
Lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Great. Wow. And did you mention the GSL had just, where's my cursor? I just mentioned also that the U.S. Black Heritage Project has 2 sprints.
Yes. No, I did not mention that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Betsy.
Yes.
We miss Megs. We hope she's having a nice rest. But she will probably be back here this time next weekend.
Yes.
As will we.
Yes, I actually will be at a big chamber music competition next Saturday. So I will probably not be here for the entire hour, but I will do my very best to pop in and say
okay. Well, we'll be happy to see you for whatever time you can give us.
Cool.
And thanks for everyone who joined us live and came and are watching this after the fact.
Yes.
And yeah, have a great Saturday.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.